Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review the new horror film, Rosario. And this is from director Felipe Vargas, from writer Alan Trezza, and this film focuses on Emerald Tobias Rosario, who spends the night with her grandmother's body while she waits for the ambulance to arrive during a severe snowfall. Rosario is attacked by otherworldly entities that have taken control of her grandmother's body. And this horror film finds Vargas really leaning into all of these different kinds of dynamic ways of presenting some terror on screen. The cinematography in this film is bonkers. You have cinematographer Carmen Cabana, who works along with Vargas to craft some dynamic, engaging, bold, and wild camera choices, Dutch angles everywhere, side angles, upside down shots, all of these kinds of things, and also use of deep focus as there's eerie things lurking in the background or this or that. They're really going full-blown personality-wise in terms of the cinematic voice of this film. And, is it showing off? Sure. But all this added personality adds to the experience of the horror in Rosario, and I think that's a good thing. There's a lot of interesting hair, makeup, practical effects designs of these entities and corpses and all of these things that just add a tactile kind of feel to this, where it's just it's easier for me to be terrified of this spirit or entity when it looks like it's standing right in front of me. And that's exactly the vibe that Vargas is able to capture in this film. Now, this film is 90 minutes or so. It does feel a little bit repetitive, and maybe they overstretched the idea of this film a bit. It felt like it was coming up on its climax after 70 minutes. And then it had a whole entire extra piece to this. But I feel like this film might get a little repetitive at times, but I think Vargas is always trying to keep you on your toes, keeping it fresh and adding these layers. You start off with this opening scene where Rosario is a child and first encounter with some dark, creepy elements. And this film really focuses on different kinds of religions and curses and these kinds of elements that you have this a group of Colombian Americans dealing with their generational trauma. There's a sequence where we see her grandmother coming over to this country and the horrific experience that she had to go through, and how that ripples, how religion and faith is leveraged potentially in nefarious ways, with some twists and turns along the way about what's this curse that's going on that's affecting Rosario and her grandmother. And I feel Taubia does a really fine job of anchoring this film down. She offers up a good, solid, rock-solid, scream queen kind of performance. But we also feel the emotion, because there's a deep-rooted element of family here. And not like Fast and the Furious, it's all about family kind of family elements. This is raw, deeply emotional kind of elements that are injected into this film. I do feel there's some really clunky elements of exposition and hey look, I'm gonna hop on my phone and do this quick rundown of all of this deeply religious, eerie kind of influences that are obviously what this whole happening is. And the film, I think, leverages its cast. You have Jose Zuniga, who plays Rosario's father, who has some good moments. David Desmalkian is the grandmother's neighbor, and he's eerie and creepy at times. Paul Ben Victor, who plays Marty, who's the landlord. And, he's in and out of the film. But really, this film turns into a one-person show of Tobia, along with some really creepy, eerie entities that are constantly popping up places, and she has to do these incantations and prayers and all these things. I appreciate the depth and the injection of faith and culture into this that adds really relevant layers in terms of immigration and that kind of journey, but while also tackling very universal themes of generational trauma and conflict amongst families and estranged relatives, and all with some wild, crazy, bold, dynamic filmmaking to tie it all together. But those are my thoughts on Rosario. Let me know what you think and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.